At least 7 people have been arrested following a looting rampage in Soweto last night. Shops and small businesses owned by migrants came under attack as some residents went looting in the township. Police say an investigation into what sparked the attacks is underway. It's believed that Zola, Emndeni and Rockville were just some of the areas that were hit. The township is not new to attacks on shops owned by migrants. Police say those arrested will appear in court soon on charges of public violence. The Gauteng MEC for Economic Development, Agriculture and Environment, will visit the area today. Joining us in studio is Teddy Yemane from the Ethiopian Business Forum, just to talk a little bit about the impact of these lootings. Teddy, good morning to you and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Mpho.
Foreign-owned shops in Soweto were under siege yesterday as looting occurred in the township. What is your reaction to this?
My reaction is that it's very saddening. And then first I would like to remind the youth of South Africa. We are here only to make a living and also to work hand in hand with our community members. That's also our neighbors in township. And it's very saddening to see the youth attacking its community members. And it's very saddening. A lot of people are victimized, and this thing continues year after year, for just merely misunderstanding and depend on the dehumanizing rhetoric that's coming out of the mouths of few politicians. Yes.
What do you mean by that?
We see that there are few politicians who are going around in the media and then using this situation just because for their own political mileage, exploiting and saying bad things against a vulnerable community like the immigrant in general. Yes.
So, you know, talk us through the impact that this is having on the Ethiopian nationals, or perhaps also foreign-owned spaza shops, the individuals that are working and, as you say, earning a living. What sort of impact has it had?
It's not only Ethiopians or Pakistanis or Somalians. It is African immigrant in general who fell victim for this kind of Afrophobic attack whenever there is economic crisis in the country or political uncertainty, and then there is a lot of trauma, financial loss, and then also a loss of life. Also, you know, injury, all sort of kind of injuries.
Yeah.
And then it's very saddening to see again to be victimized by the very same neighbors that you call friends, people who doesn't have any intention to hurt you whatsoever. But then, as a youth of South Africa, as a youth, are always vulnerable to the media. They are exposed to the media, which is, you know, by the politicians who like to exploit this kind of situation for their own political use again.
What points do you think politicians are scoring through, you know, as you say, that they're using this for their own political agendas? What do you think they're scoring?
For instance, for the past few weeks, there are few politicians who are going and labeling foreigners for being criminals who have evil intention by saying that people are hijacking buildings, running human trafficking business and selling drugs, which is totally unbased and untrue. Like I said, those people, we other African immigrants are here for seeking political asylum. And then also because we have to eat and drink, we have to sustain ourselves by employing ourselves.
Teddy, let's speak to the realities on the ground. The argument that's been brought forward, especially Joburg Mayor Herman Mashaba, he's been speaking about ensuring that there are documented foreign nationals in the country, that you cannot, for instance, record any criminal activity, irrespective of nationality, but you can't record any criminal activity without knowing the identity of the person who is in the country. And that's what's caused a lot of danger and uncertainty, that crimes are committed and people are not found because they're not recorded in the system. What are your thoughts on documented migrants coming into the country?
You know, when it comes to illegal immigration or legal migration, what has been said, especially from Herman Mashaba himself, is very alarming and very worrying. Why? Because most of the African immigrants that I know are well documented, including Ethiopians, Nigerians, you can name them. And then what happened on the raid after the police conducted last week? People had to be released because Home Affairs officials arrived in the police station. When they verify documents, they are well documented, so they had to release them anyway. That only can show you that the allegation was made by him, Mashaba, himself was very wrong and was very baseless. And then when we come to the crime, criminals doesn't leave a trace, whether it's a South African, a Nigerian, Ethiopian, or American. They always try to evade by all means necessary. And then it's not fair to say it's only immigrants who are committing crimes.
No, not at all, not at all.
Yeah, not at all. It's not, crime is a human nature.
Yes, but I was talking about tracking fingerprints. If I go and commit a crime, my fingerprints can be matched to my ID.
As far as I understand, when Home Affairs issued the document for immigrant, there are all sort of identity requirement and then fingerprint process that you have to go through. Even in our asylum paper, the first thing that you see on the paper is our fingerprint. Whenever we go to Home Affairs, each and every month, unless we put our fingerprint on the scanner, we cannot issue we cannot renew our license. That shows you our fingerprint and our data is there on the database of the Home Affairs. For instance, if you are arrested in the police station, they will take your fingerprint. Then if you are on the database of criminal whatsoever, I don't know how to say it, then they will know who you are and what crime you commit, and then they have all this apparatus to track you down.
I think it's not a fair debate for us to have to say, when you say that all migrants are well documented, that is not true, because we saw that a number of people appeared in various courts last week to show that not all foreign nationals are well documented. But that said, does not excuse the level of violence and the attacks on foreign nationals. That in itself is unacceptable. So do you know at all what may have sparked this latest incident of the attacks on foreign-owned spaza shops in Soweto?
Yeah, what happened at the very bottom of this history, the violence, even the stoning, was perpetrated by a few family members who are coming for the past 10 years in the CBD, looting, terrorizing women, children, even South African customers by throwing grenades, deploying live ammunition for the past 10 years. And we've been going around to various departments, law enforcement agencies, opening cases, to send the assistance letter to the municipality of Johannesburg for safety and security MMCs. For the past how many years, I lost track. And then they create this misunderstanding and fraction between the vulnerable traders in the CBD and the South African Police Service. That was what sparked this whole incident. If it wasn't for them, if they were investigated, if they followed the right procedure, even the police have investigated these family members who came, father and two sons, this thing wouldn't have happened. And we saw it coming. We've been pleading and asking and begging and crying from the minister's office, from the provincial headquarters to Johannesburg Central Police Station. We've been asking, but it seems like nobody wants to listen. And it seems like being foreigner is a kind of
a sin.
Yeah, to be attacked. So what sparked is that it's not a problem between a police and vulnerable hawkers. It is because these family members
Who are these family members that you speak?
They claim to represent big companies like Adams to Adams or Spur & Fisher, Adidas. I don't know, because they never given a chance.
Are these South African families you talk?
I think they are South African families. They most probably are South African families.
So have you opened a case with the police?
Many cases, assault, armed robbery, you name it. We've been casing open, to be specific, since 2016.
Teddy, I want us to hold that thought. Let's go to a break and I'll come back to you. Before the break, you were talking about some of the motive that you believe may have sparked the attack and looting in Soweto. You spoke about a family that's been terrorizing the foreign-owned shops across the CBD and everywhere else. Just talk to us more about that.
You know, specifically these family members who are always coming guarded by the police, sometimes by Metro police officials. And then in special cases, they also come with a kind of military people who are wearing the balaclavas and holding assault and automatic rifles. And they will come and conduct very violent kind of raid, which you can see is not constitutional and which violates our all human right and doesn't respect our dignity. And then they will beat and victimize and even, you know, stole our cash and everything, that the bad things that you can name off. And then we've been reporting this matter to various level of governments.
And have you gotten any reactions so far?
No, never. It seems like nobody wants to listen. It seems like nobody wants to investigate them. It seems like they're above the law. It seems like they have their own kind of force which can stop any kind of investigation from taking places. And then it seems like they want the blood on the streets. That's what they found last time they come.
They want what, sir?
It seems like they want the blood. They always make us bleed. They always shoot us. They don't have any respect for women. We've been submitting a lot of kind of footage while they are on the act of this violent and inhuman activities.
You know, speaking about attack, just moving to the raids that occurred in the Joburg CBD, one of the reasons, I mean, this hasn't been confirmed at all, but one of the other reasons, you've just mentioned one reason you believe which may have sparked the attacks and the looting in Soweto. One of the other reasons that, of course, hasn't been confirmed, but has been heard is that residents of some parts of Soweto are retaliating after some foreign nationals in the Joburg CBD threw stones and attacked police who were doing and conducting the raids. How much do you know about that?
I can say people are why this kind of news is coming out, but it might be. But one thing I want to say here is that the attack on the police should be condemned in the strong term possible. In any part of the world, law enforcement are there to uphold the constitution and the law. At the end of the day, even us, the migrant community, the vulnerable part of the society, is protected not by anybody, but by the police. And therefore, we condemn, and then we know it's wrong to attack the police, let alone the police to attack any human being. And then, for those people who are looting the shops in order to avenge for the police, it would be very wrong. Those people who are responsible and then are culprit of attacking the police should be identified. Our community and then the African diaspora community have a clear stance on that to assist and to identify for the perpetrator who take part on the stoning to be identified and to the full extent of the law.
As a member of the Ethiopian Business Forum, I mean, these attacks and the looting has occurred in Soweto. There is a level of calm that has been restored. But do you know the cost implications this has had on the spaza shop owners and where to from now?
The cost implication, I don't know. I cannot quantify it because I don't have a clear data. We'll only have on a later stage. And then from this moment on, I think the government and all those responsible thinkers of this country have to engage the youth whenever there is political uncertainty, economic hardship, or this kind of misunderstanding with law enforcement agency or migrant society. This is not the way to deal with it. There are proper channels which can be employed to address whatever the problem there is on the ground. And then what I would say for my peer South African is that let's better ourselves. Let's not engage in this kind of activity, which also dehumanizes us. There is a better platform to make our voice heard. If we think and believe that the migrant community in our townships, are they not assisting the youth or contributing to the crime, let's engage. There are proper channels, there are NGOs, there are our kind of forums that we can address this kind of issue rather than to go and loot the shops.
Yeah, last one, Teddy, before we let you go.
Yes.
The last time these protests and the retaliation with the residents going on the rampage, last time this occurred, it was as a result of expired goods being sold through these spaza shops. In terms of that process and improving there, how have you improved since then? And you know, what solutions have you put on the table to ensure that whatever you sell is not expired?
You see, at the end of the day, we are all human beings. They might be greedy and then ill-minded people among ourselves. But they amount for quite few percentage of them. And then we come with this strategy by going to churches and our organization, educating and condemning these individuals as far as finding them and then punishing them for the wrongdoing that they committed. And then we've been identifying and then asking our community members who own spaza shop if they know anybody who are involving in this kind of practice to stop. Because selling expired food for another human being while you can buy the legitimate and non-expired food, it's against the law, it's against the God. So we don't want this kind of committee members among ourselves. We'll root them up. And that's what we're engaging.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Teddy, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
There you have it, Teddy Yemane, the Ethiopian Business Forum, just reacting there to the looting that occurred in Soweto last night. Of course, we know that that has now been restored. Calm has since been restored, as well as 7 people arrested for public violence and possession of stolen property.